I'm Trek with 2Ks. Oh, you sucker munch. Hola, buenas noches, buenas tardes, GnGs. My name is Trek with 2Ks, and I did it to myself. Yeah, I did it to myself. So that was like what? Damn, 4 minutes worth of just nothing but a scratch my brain thumbnail. All right, so I got a couple of stories that caught my attention today, more things than others, I guess. And then I guess I caught one or two things kind of late. So the Peter Schiff is talking smack to CZ. Elizabeth Warren is talking smack to CZ. What was the other one? Zelle. They about to get in a stablecoin game. I'm curious on whether that's them putting themselves in the crosshair of the IRS or the DoJ and the SEC. What was the other one? What was the other one? The DOJ just wrapped up a court case that arguably sounds like it is going to secure the bag of crypto, or secure a bag of crypto, or actually a bunch of bags of crypto for the US. These are the things that I've been scratching my brain when I saw them, and I'm gonna get into them. And if you're over on the Twitter side, I do the live chat on the YouTube side. It's the Gentleman of Crypto channel. I also do have my own channel, so if you want to just drop by and give it a like, thumbs, and all the other stuff, I'd appreciate. Where else am I going? Oh, so to the question, right? I'm saying this to my federales out there, to my federales, from gang to the big boy federal. If you are in the crypto space, considering what is going on, is this the time to jump in your bag? Like, I am in a furlough situation because I'm more on the gang side, and my situation plays out different than folks who are like traditional fed, like if you in like Department of Education or Department of Agriculture, you know, those areas. um is this where you touch your bag? Because I know folks who apparently been furloughed since like August, July, and I just found out recently, like within like the last week or two, and some of the folks that I know. Some folks are taking it in stride. They going on trips. They going about their business. They not crypto people, right? They not blockchain people. They just out there living their life, doing what they do, right? And they got enough traditional fiat stashed that they good for like another 3 to 6 months, right? But those of us on the federal side who have gotten, you know, where we are right now with things, um is this the time to tap in on that bag? Do you cash out your Ripple? Do you cash out your other stablecoin, USDC? Do you go in the Bitcoin bag? Like, do you do something with some NFTs? And I don't even know what's going on in the NFT market right now, right? Do you get rid of some ETH? Like, again, we are 20. No, I didn't hear it the first time because I had the mic on mute. My bad. So we are 23 days, I think, or 24 days in on this. No, is it that? Is it? Hold on. You know what? Let me look at this real quick. How many days has the shutdown been going on? Because I swear I seen something. Any is the down and running. All right. So yeah, I thought I seen something earlier that said it was like 23 days. So October, as of October 28th. Wait, how are we trying? Oh wow. So running for apparently is that correct? Well, according to Brave search engine, it says 28 days. Jesus Christ. So for those who don't know, the longest one we had was 35 days. And I think that was that either under the first run of Trump or it might have been Obama? No, there was one in Obama's time, but I don't think he was the longest one. I think the first one was during Trump's first run. So yeah. Do all right. So I'm gonna put this in the chat. The federal folks in crypto, we touch our crypto bags. Yeah, bags to deal with the shutdown. And yeah, that's the question. Somebody hears it, answer we greatly appreciate it. And in general, because obviously for how these things are going and then like how the knock-on effect happens, it's going to move into other industries, it's going to move into other sectors, it's going to play into other areas that we don't have as the, oh, that's something that I should pay attention to. And then there's like the regular traditional part of, oh, this is going to affect like food services places, right? Because people aren't going to order out as much, or they might order, but they're using their credit card. I heard, I was listening to something, a clip or something, and the guy who is, I think, a founding member of GoFundMe, where they're talking about people setting up GoFundMes for food now and bills, right? So we're talking electric, we're talking gas, if you got gas, water, whatever. But again, question being for the federales, right? My gang folks, and they talking about how there's a increase in soldiers. So my gang folks, active folks, part-time folks, as far as the reserve and the guard folks, and the full-time AGRs and technician folks who are going to, or they already see where there's the increase of soldiers and their families showing up to food banks. That's already been going on for at least a week or so now. So it's like, the question again is, for the folks that are in the crypto space, is this when we tap into the bag? Because these bills got to be paid, right? I didn't even realize this was 28 days in until just now. I thought it was like 23 or something, honestly. I definitely thought we were under 20. Because depending on what you're dealing with, whether you're talking about your mortgage, whether you're talking about a utility bill, utility folks is like, oh, we'll give you an extension, or you could like move your due date, right? Your mortgage company would tell you something like, oh, well, we'll let you go into a forbearance status, and we won't have any of the penalties against you if it goes for more than 30 days of you paying back. What's the other one? BGNE's one is funny because they're not really doing anything that's per se helpful. You actually have to be to the point of you got the turnoff notice in order for them to do anything to help you. I don't know what the other states are doing, but yeah, this situation is playing out really interesting. I don't know if that's the right word to say, but here we are. But anywho, let's get into these stories, and then I'll throw my other things out there as far as thoughts and rambles. So yeah, that's what I got for y'all right now. Where we go. All right, so first joint is Peter Schiff is out here talking smack to CZ. And so basically it's like, hey, I challenge you. We should have a debate about gold versus Bitcoin. And it's just like, oh, shout outs to Mind Your Biz, by the way, because I seen this on his he was the one who posted about this. And in my mind, this is one of those like, what in the world? Like, who were you talking to be like, yo, you know what you should do? You should go and debate somebody in a space, or because it's either two parts to this, right? It's either throw out an official challenge to someone in the crypto space of a notable stature, right? And you have that part of it, but there's two lists. There's the who will actually say something back to you versus who's not even gonna like bat an eye at you. If this was like Bitcoin Jesus back in the day, oh man, the Bitcoin Jesus army would have been on his ass, and then Roger Ver would have showed up like, what? Let's go, right? But if you paid attention to any amount to CZ and how he posts and even how he does interviews, like he don't do the debating business. Like in my mind, this is more of a play for Peter, and granted, if you're paying any attention to like the whole precious metal thing, the gold price is definitely going up beyond what people would have thought it would be. And this is not any financial advice of any type. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some guy on the internet, right? So this is just pure entertainment talk. Remember that. Do your own due diligence. Do not just take what I'm saying as any type of gospel, right? What do they say? don't trust but verify. So do your own due diligence on these things that I'm talking about on here. So gold has gone up like crazy, right? Um, and then there's the talk now of like, all right, well, there has to be a correction at some point because this shit is just really crazy how it's moving up. It shouldn't be this high up in such this short period of time. That's how I understand it for the people that I'm paying attention to. And so it's just like, okay, well, um, if gold is your lane, you've been bashing crypto for how long? What is going on? Okay, arguably, and this is me not steel man trapping it, but like I'm a little curious on what conversation did you have that made you think, let me throw out a challenge to talk to CZ about gold versus Bitcoin, and then it would be a real response, or is it just you out here trying to play the algos game and CZ's name does track with his name does trend within the algos. So it was like, all right, bet, boom, let me throw this out here. Cause like, what was the last thing you heard come out of Peter Schiff's mouth over like the last 3 to 6 months? And I forget who he was. I want to say like maybe 3 or 4 months ago, he was definitely making his way around the circuit of like the economic, microeconomic, macro folks and like the gold, precious metal folks, right? But it's just like, what are you really doing? And I would argue, which then makes me think about something that God, what is his name right now? Not Roger Ver. I can't remember his name right now. Hold on. Excuse me. What is his tone? I literally have a picture, mental picture of him, but I can't remember his name at the moment. But nonetheless, I remember this was before C19 period. This is like before 2021. And I don't remember what event we were at. And it might have been when we was in South Africa. Anywho, um, so he says he had noticed that he was seeing a drop in his in his um community, like his community that was in his product and for the services that he was offering, right? And so he's talking about this back in like 2020, right? 2021. But he was like, yeah, like I've been seeing how it's been this drop off of the engagement, the user base, and that stuff. So the paying users I'm talking about in particular, like the subscribe folks. So this makes me wonder, is CZ, not CZ, sorry, is Peter going through the same thing for his community slash user base? Is he seeing the decline, or not necessarily no, there might be a decline, but more of his like subscribe paying customer folks are like, yo, like, what do we do to get in on this crypto side stuff, like this Bitcoin thing? Because there's a number of things happening around the stablecoin side of it, around the Bitcoin side of it, and this is just in regards to like what is being the top, the top, or the push of conversation in the U.S. market. Like you also got to remember, when you go outside of the U.S., it's a whole nother set of things going on, right? It's a whole nother set of things going on. So like, it isn't necessarily that, everyone's talking about like Pulse or what's Richard Hart thing? Yeah, Hex. There we go. So like, I wonder if he's making this public spectacle to That would be crazy. I don't know if he thinking this smart. I don't know if he has a social media advisor or like a PR person who would advise him this way. But arguably, it would be, hey, if we are having this like Venn diagram slash like either we're losing X amount of our people in the user base, the paid side of his, product service to the crypto folks, or we want to make it where we can bridge some of our traditional um precious metal folks into um the crypto side folks. And then there's the other part of we're at a point now where you could be like, well, I think that we're at a point where we can say diversification is arguably a safer option versus putting all of your eggs in one basket. So he's trying to cross over and get some of the crypto folks to get into the precious metals market. Just a thought. I could be way the hell wrong. I don't actually pay attention to any of his interviews like that. And I could just be way the hell wrong in what I just said on he's probably noticing a decline in his registered subscribers paying side of the list, and he's trying to position himself to be a bridge for his community of folks while working to garner and getting people from the crypto side over to the precious metal side under the concept of diversifying that. All right, here's some of the old stuff that's been around for more than 2,000 years. And then this is going to be the future direction as far as how this technology is the new medium as a monetary mechanism, as a monetary, financial mechanism. That's a thought. I could be way wrong though, right? So yeah. What was the other one? What is the other one? All right, so this is the joint in regards to, well, not this one in particular, but I'll get to the post. So apparently CZ got pardoned by Trump, which I did not know that happened. I'm really wowed by that. Again, CZ is really good at keeping things under wraps. Now, but then again, I don't pay enough attention to his account to know if he probably might have said something at some point and be like, oh man, I would really hope blah blah blah. But nonetheless, it did happen, right? And so here you have it. He did get the pardon, which is like, okay, no double jeopardy. So I'm gonna jump. Matter of fact, let me do this. Okay, so here's a question. I'm gonna throw out another question. If he got a pardon, all right, in my mind, right? These are the things that scratch my brain, y'all. In my mind, I imagine that when he pled what he pled, he got the charges. I didn't go through and read any of the paperwork, so y'all might know more than me. There was all right, well, you're officially this convicted criminal felon on this level. When you get out, you will not be allowed to do blah, blah, blah. Case in point, he had to step down as the head of Binance. If you notice, you don't really hear him per se talking as far as like what's he doing as another crypto business. He might throw little here and there hints or like, oh, I went to such and such and blah, blah, blah. But he's not like, oh yeah, this is the thing. Everyone do this. It's like, yeah, he's still Team Binance, but he's not telling you exactly every which, coin, token, NFT, blah, blah, blah to pick on Binance, right? So did he like Anthony Pomplianos, like Arthur Hayes, like Reggie Middleton? Did he end up having to sign some kind of I won't get into this industry or I won't do this thing? So if that did happen, does that mean that with this pardon, that stuff goes away? Because, like, you can't say he is a convicted felon anymore because he got pardoned. So the record gets expunged. So does that mean that any of the what is the word? It's not NDA, but like the clause for his probation, for him, what he agreed to in the court trial, does all of that stuff get wiped away? I'm very curious. I wonder this. And it like, other thing to note, right? For as much as, which arguably then this is the rub. So for as much as Trump is on the whole like, hey, you know, we got to be sticking our finger and talking sideways to China, da 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 da, because y'all know CZ is not American. So it's even more of a like, wait, you gave this dude a pardon? What? Just throwing that out there. Just I'm curious. I am curious. Let me find this other. Where's the other one? Not you. Not you. Nope, not you. Nope, not you. Not you. I should have waited. All right, bet. So this one. So Elizabeth Warren basically gets kind of dragged on Twitter because she starts talking smack about CZ, saying that he was a convicted felon and he was money laundering was what he got in trouble for. And at least based on how I'm reading these tweets that are in this particular post, it's like, well, no, he didn't admit to money laundering. He admitted to, okay, my company did not do the top level um anti-money laundering rules. We did like a 6 when you could have been at an 8. Okay, that's what he pled guilty to. That is a very, very, very huge chasm of charge, right? Being a I did money laundering versus the listen, my compliance rules were not on 10. I was just, doing the 8, the 7.5. I mean, we could have did a 10, but all right, you got me. That's 2 different charges. That's 2 different levels of crime. This is like what he actually agreed to and pled guilty to was a compliance issue that the government used against them. So now, again, jumping back to this thing of, because there's another story. What was the other one? I'm gonna get to it, and I don't remember it at the moment right now. But here she is throwing shade, right? And this is like, what's the objective in this? Like, what? Who did you talk to be like, hey, put this in a tweet thingy on the X? And then you agreed, like, oh yeah, we'll say that. Or like, did someone tell you to say this? I don't know. But it was just one of those like, you should know better because you've been around Congress long enough. Enough people have been charged with federal crimes, officially official money launderers, right? Official fraudsters. So it's just one of those like, how does that work? Like, you should know the difference, but yet you still went on a whole couple of posts about saying CZ was doing money laundering. Like, how, bro? Like, what was the point? These are the things that scratch my brain. Like, and I've been saying for the last couple of months, I've been throwing little here and there jabs at Pocahontas, in that I think for as much um for as much dirt or as much anti crypto and CZ and stuff as she is, assuming she makes it for like another, like, let's say 15 years, because you gotta remember Nancy Pelosi is like, I think in her latter 70s, and I think Elizabeth Warren is in maybe the latter 60s. I think. I'm not 100% certain. I don't find it necessarily worth Googling right now. But she stays in office for like another 10 years. I don't know when it's going to happen, but at some point, she's going to turn her tune and be looking for that crypto vote. And I was saying this in one of my takeaways on LinkedIn. So if you don't know, the other thing that I do, right? All right, let me step back one. I didn't even give that intro part of it. The basic idea of this show is I go through Twitter and find the things that scratch my brain. And these are the different things that I come across for some of the accounts that I follow. And then sometimes I might see something over on LinkedIn and then have to go find it on Twitter, which is another story about the DoJ that I found on LinkedIn and then had to come look for it on Twitter. And I got a little better of a understanding of what was going on and like kind of how it connects and stuff. But damn, hold on. So, yeah, I do that as far as this is how the show works. So it's a no-face show based on Twitter posts that are related to blockchain and crypto. I don't get into as much as the techie stuff as I used to. Not everybody is a techie person, so you kind of lose people on that when you get down that rabbit hole. And then I'm not the super techie person, like I don't code. But nonetheless, these things do scratch my brain, right? And so with that, what I then do is I go through whatever I say on here, and then I think about it, and then come Tuesday or Wednesday, sometimes even Thursday, I write a quick little, blog joint on LinkedIn of my takeaway of something that I covered on here. And some of the folks on LinkedIn, if you follow me on LinkedIn, there was one point when I was writing like 5 to 6 days post-wise, like writing actual posts on LinkedIn. Now I'm just, doing one day. And the thing about LinkedIn that folks have to understand, side note, shout out to Tej. Tej said something that I think it was a repost. I think it was a repost that he did like a while ago. But like the idea of like, if you out here trying to like make it in whatever, I want to say industry, but the idea of you have to have the proof, like the paper trail. So like if you're coding, you're doing stuff on GitHub. If you're I don't remember what Notion does, but Notion is another thing where you could like write all of your ideas and stuff out. And if you want to move around and like start like poking at people or have people seeing what's going on or exploring your thought process for how you understand whatever vertical space industry that you're in, LinkedIn is where you end up doing that. That is where you put out, hey, here's here's my thought process on this topic. Here's my insight. Here's my takeaway. Here's something that I went to and I thought I should share it with folks who are, quote, in this professional space, right? And if you do it, let's say well enough, or if you share enough insight, I would argue it's more about you sharing insight to be, quote, a thought leader. And if you do it well enough, also, I should add, there's the people who do the paid side of LinkedIn, which is like the same thing that goes on with, Instagram, with Twitter, with Facebook. Like, if you just let it work off of what the person posted and then just seeing how it regularly worked, naturally worked for the folks who actually chose to follow them, I don't know what the numbers would actually look like, but it's a difference. I know that on the free plan versus the paid plan of your exposure. But nonetheless, you can get exposure. And the idea is you're doing it long enough and you're showing people that, hey, I'm going through this experience. This is the proof of like, I know what I'm talking about, or like I have a insightful observation. Maybe somebody else might be seeing this. Maybe somebody else isn't seeing this. And now you can go and explore this thing too. Just saying. It's to the point that Teach had posted earlier of like, you got to put that proof. You got to have that paper trail. And in this day and age, it's the digital paper trail, right? So if you're out there on Twitter, if you're out there on LinkedIn, you're out there on IG, granted, you kind of got to move around in terms of where you're trying to build your audience or community. If you're really trying to move to be a quote influencer or thought leader in a particular vertical, I can tell you it is a very, very, even in this day and age of like the multiple in one apps that allow you to like, uh push content through like 3, 4, 7, 8, 10 different platforms at one time. It's still like a task, yo. Like, side note, and it relates to what I'm talking about right now. Like, I remember when I first started on this journey, right? And I went through the whole thing of like, oh man, I gotta sign up for this, I gotta sign up for that. And I mean, I was on like everything. I was on Medium. The only thing I didn't mess with like that was Facebook. And like I had the other account, and then I would like do some cross promotion, not promotion, but like posting. So it'd be like Facebook. Who remembers Steam? So I used to do it where like I would post on Steam, and then it would post to, what was it? It wasn't LinkedIn. It was Steam, and I could do it where it posted like 2 to 3 other things. And like, but back then it wasn't as what do they call it, curated, where like you have to change some of the words, or you have to add in emojis, or you have to make shorter lines. Like even LinkedIn now, you can't write as long as you used to on LinkedIn. Now you got to do it where like it's shorter in terms of you can't do like condensed sentences or a paragraph. Like you got to do like 2 or 3 sentences that make a paragraph, and then like it's like a one-liner, and then it's a whole different thing. Like the Instagram, Snapchat, no, not a Snapchat because you don't really write on Snapchat. The Twitter, Instagram writing format is definitely moved over into LinkedIn now. But anywho, that's a whole nother like rabbit hole to run down. Where am I at? Oh, my whole thing just messed up. Okay. What? Oh man. Wait, is that it? Nope. That is not it. Hold on, folks. One of my windows closed, and it had like a bunch of stuff on it that was open. Where'd you go? Come on. You're killing me right now. Anywho, so what was I saying? Content. Yeah, so takeaways for LinkedIn. I'll have one of those. If you over on LinkedIn and you want to see what I end up with, you can go over there and read it. Damn. Was that it? That was not it. Anywho, it's a one-man show trying to work this out. Yeah. All right, I'm getting distracted. So, okay, good. Oh wow, interesting. YouTube is acting funky. Wait. Oh, that's what's going. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't even realize that. Wait, so how did I get here? Sorry, y'all. I'm just realizing that it's pulling me between 2 different channels. Okay. My bad. My bad. Again, one person show. I just realized that. How did I not notice that before? Interesting. All right. So let's jump back into this. My bad, y'all. Distractions. Y'all know it's like the what do they call it? The squirrel brain. So yeah, Elizabeth Warren being a hater. I'm not certain why she's out here throwing shade. When she should know better. And the other part of she has like assistants, and her assistant should have been like, hold on, let me double check before we send out this post. Just saying, it would have made more sense. Not would have made more sense, but it it I don't get what the shade was for, considering you should have known better, and now you getting dragged, unless the whole point was to just, play relevance to the algos, which it's oh god, like who remembers the whole do it for the gram? Like I feel like we in this age now of do it for the algos. Whatever the platform is that you're on, right? Whether it be a Twitter, whether it be a Snapchat, whether it be an Instagram, whether it be a Facebook, um, this whole thing now of like, and even with like the cross sharing of different platforms, like you still have it where like some people will hone in on one platform as like that's their base, but like putting out things that you're just like, well, what was the purpose of sharing that? Like, I don't understand. Um, oh, all right. All right, so let me jump into this other post. But like I said, like I don't know, man. That one just doesn't make sense to me of what was the point of that, because she's definitely getting dragged through Twitter about it. So shout outs to Ken Sturgeon. So he's serious professor. I've mentioned him before. He's one of the people I pay attention to in terms of like the geopolitical and like the geoeconomic stuff, right? And so he put this post out earlier today where he goes, "Here's a tempting thought. What are the odds that the majority of Bitcoin pumpers don't even own any Bitcoin? TikTok influencers are paid to hawk other companies' products. So why wouldn't these clowns be paid fiat to hawk buying crypto to support private equity positions?" My response to this was short answer, yes. And I say that on the end of, if you've been around the space for a while, it makes total sense as something to do. Um, and the other thing that I would argue is that if you look at what is going on in the social media news cycle, and I mean more, you know what? Let me not even say it's not the news cycle. If you look at what is going on with the social media content folks, and not necessarily like the big name folks, but like the mid-tier folks who are like a couple 100,000 followers, um as well as like, the folks who might be pushing near that million marker. Because even if you have like a million subscribers or something, the question always boils down to what is your conversion rate? Like how many of those a million subscribers can you actually influence enough to buy the product or service that is sponsoring your thing, right? And there's literally been a number of stories that have recently come out and then that have come out a while ago, and how you'll have these companies that will make no upfront mention that they're paying these mid-tier and like higher and sometimes lower level um content folks to pump whatever the product is or the service or like whatever the idea or concept is. See, that's the other part. That's the other part where it gets very Edward Bernays. If you know anything about like old school marketing, the book called Propaganda, Edward Bernays. If you know who Sigmund Freud is and how he got his rise in the academic institute, like Sigmund Freud, for the psychology folks, he is canon in the American academic world. That is in large part because of, I think Edward Bernays was his nephew. I think it was his nephew, but he plays into that whole thing of making Sigmund Freud canon for American like academic psychology circles. And so my point to the post that Ken is doing here is that like it 100% makes sense to me, at least, that there are probably a number of strategic ad campaigns, social engineering campaigns being run to get people to move over into this crypto space via Bitcoin, via the stable coins. And it isn't, and this doesn't mean, and I'm not saying this as far as like, oh, well, Tether is doing blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not even saying that the name of the coin or the NFT or the whatever is the culprit behind it. I'm just saying that in my mind, based on how I've seen some of the things play out in this space, it would definitely make sense to me that if somebody wanted to see something pump, or if they wanted to see something stagnate, or if they wanted to see something get converted, or if they wanted to expand the audience base, right, the user base, that would be a potential strategy right there. Let's get 50, not even 50, let's get like 20 of like the mid-tier social media people who, and it don't even got to be somebody who is actually like, oh yeah, look at my crypto wallet and I got this, that, and the third. It's like, nah, you just need like, oh yeah, guess what, y'all, I'm doing a project where I'm gonna start getting crypto through this, or I got my first crypto wallet. Like, the point being is, it makes sense to me that this would be happening. And then now that we're moving into the stablecoin phase of crypto, I think that that's going to be the next pump. And I'm not saying this is financial advice, y'all. I'm not saying this is financial advice. I'm just saying, based on how I understand marketing and then social engineering to get traction and move the needle in how people look at a product or service or any idea or concept that is like at a larger scale social societal level, it would make sense to me to do some shit like this. Start doing it. And then the other part to note is, it's, if you're going after the social media people, as far as that being your vehicle to pump the idea and move the needle, that means you're going after the like, because considering like right now, who are the big or the mid-tier social media people? What? That's like majority of those folks I think are under 30, let's say 35 to be safe. So you're not over here trying to talk to like, my age range and the boomer age range folks. That's the already passed down the money thing. Like, you trying to get the next wave coming in. So that's the millennials, the Gen Z folks, and like that you know what I'm saying, backwards younger thing. So you setting it up that those folks, especially if they just got into crypto, they're not gonna know too much better. And it's like, oh man, I've been following Kai Cenat for like blah 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 years, and like, oh, that dude can never do wrong. Lo and behold. And I'm not saying Castanet is doing anything. I just happen to throw his name out because that was one of the people that I thought of. And I believe he's under 30. I don't even think he's like past 25. But it makes sense to me. And if you've been around this thing for a while, you know that the manipulation behind the scenes is real. It's real. All right. So Caitlin Long, another person that I have on my following list. So it seems like she just got a major breakthrough for what she's been trying to do. Or is this a repost? Nope, it's not a repost. So basically, read it out. Alert, news. This has been in the works for more than 5 years. We are the first to issue tokenized deposits on a permissionless blockchain in the US with our bank partner Vantage Bank in March. And now the consortium is officially launched, DEETS. So my question on this is, why didn't you just name the blockchain unless it was something that y'all made up like 5 years ago? I don't understand why you didn't just say what the blockchain was. And for those who don't know, Caitlin Long is her background is Wall Street. And the way you hear her tell it is that at some point she wanted to move away from that. She got orange pilled in regards to Bitcoin, and she is working with her understanding of finance and the banking world and with the people that she knows back in her home state of Wyoming to be the bridge to get the financial industry and the government to cross over onto this Bitcoin track. Now, I've met her. I've actually did a selfie with her. That was a couple of years ago. Very nice lady in regards to that. But my spidey senses tingle because one of her major cool Padre people is Cynthia Loomis. And I'm not a fan of Cynthia Loomis because she's very much a big promoter of like pushing the patriotism nationalist view in the crypto space. If we're saying this thing is about being permissionless and we know that the technology has the ability to work in any region and environment, then what are we doing talking about nationalism as far as like, oh, well, America has to be number one in the space. We have to dominate, blah, 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 blah. But nonetheless, here's what she's saying. I don't know how big of a thing this should be. I got to talk to Antonio and ask him what his thought is on this. So tokenized deposits launch. Vantage Bank and Custodial Bank announces launch of tokenized deposits for U.S. banks. Turnkey assertive solutions that integrate tokenized deposits and stablecoins directly into traditional online banking environment. Consortium members, bank and credit unions will also gain the benefits of the premier patent portfolio pertaining to protocols of tokenizing U.S. dollars on blockchains, plural, which Custodia has been developing since 2020. The platform is open to institutions of all sizes. So, okay, this is not even about the regular average Joe. So, never mind. This don't even matter to us. This don't even matter to us. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I guess this is one of those wait and see. Like, does this work out to have legs and survive through this administration and then like be established within TradeFi? I don't know, because it's like, first question is like, well, what is your blockchain? What's your consensus mechanism? 9 times out of 10, it's probably a proof of stake, because if it would have been a proof of work, she'd have just said that. It's obviously not Bitcoin because she could have just said that. And it's two financial institutions. So it couldn't have been Bitcoin blockchain because y'all don't control the code. I don't know. Like it's just it's a weird, not it's not weird. In terms of folks who are traditional finance, I imagine this makes 100% sense. Um I'm more curious on how will this play out in the long run? And like it's like, okay, what is the point of the tokenized deposit if you already have the stable coin? And then because it's like saying we're going to tokenize your US dollar, your USD, into a stable coin, or we're going to make it into a whole different quote coin. And then you're saying that it's like they're making their own stable coin, but not saying it's a stable coin. Bam. Okay. That it right there. It's like they're making a stable coin, but not calling it a stable coin, because unless you're saying that you're going to be a custodian of crypto, which has volatility in it, what's the point of taking the fiat and then holding it? Like I could hold my own stable coins as an institution. I don't know if I see where this is going, honestly. Like it sounds like they're playing in the stablecoin game, but they're not saying it's a stablecoin. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong, right? Oh, I'm over here. Wrong one. All right, moving on to the next. Moving on. I don't know. That one kind of got me. What? Wait. All right. I don't know what is going on tonight. Oh, wait, was this the one? Did she change? No, that wasn't the one. So Janice, so Janice, widow of John McAfee, she posted this, and I read it, and it took me a little minute to like kind of put together, because then I had to read through what Corn Bureau has said. So all right, let's go. First part is Justin, Coinbase CEO reveals Base will soon enable private stablecoin transactions. They'll use Ironfish ZK proof to mass amounts and addresses with read-only access for authorities, which basically is like that. That's is really pointless to call it a private, like it's pointless to use the word private in connection with a stable coin if you're still providing read-only access to authorities, because that's only a matter of time before you get to like write authorities. It's a slippery slope. So transactions get frozen, transactions get reversed. Like that's a slippery slope right there. That doesn't even make sense to put those words in the same sentence together. And so what's the other one? So now Janice says, I'm not sure if your CEO knows this Coinbase, but read-only access for authorities is actually the opposite of private. That's not economic sovereignty. That's not digital sovereignty. The team at Anti is making our own private stablecoin backed by only permissionless privacy coins like Monero and Zcash. Who still uses Zcash, by the way? Who is out there still using Zcash? I'm not gonna go through the rest of it because I don't want to make it sound like I'm doing an advertisement. But shout outs to her, by the way. I was watching an interview with her the other day, and man, like John was a hell of a smart dude that you definitely didn't want to get on his wrong side. You didn't want that man was hella smart. And yeah, I'm not even gonna run down that rabbit hole per se, but to this, in terms of it did, like the idea that you're making a private stablecoin inherently conceptually diametrically opposed concepts, ideas, functions, and to say a stablecoin. So who is this being marketed to? I don't know. It's not the average Joe person. Like if you buy into this because you're just trying to make a bag, like best of luck. But like I don't see it. It doesn't make sense to do as a thing, but I imagine some folks are going to do it. Why? Because they didn't experience what the space was like before Coinbase. Not before Coinbase, but before Base, as well as they don't care. Like, and I the other part to it is that most folks who do things quote privately don't do things actual private. They don't practice privacy effectively. That's the bottom line. Most folks don't practice privacy effectively in terms of their financial situations, in terms of their technologies that they have that access various types of PII about them. Like I'm always amazed at how many people walk around. Like if you're not listening to something on Bluetooth, I am always amazed at how many people be walking around with their Bluetooth on. I'm always amazed at how many people be walking around with their NFC on. I'm dumbfounded with how many people walk around with their the Wi-Fi on. Like I remember I was in somebody's promotion ceremony and like I was talking to one of the other sergeants and he was just like he showed me something on his phone. It was a LinkedIn because LinkedIn has a feature where you can connect it. I think it's through the Bluetooth that if other people um have LinkedIn and they have this feature turned on, it'll suggest them to you. Like, not like, oh, here's somebody who's in your same industry as you. It's like, oh no, here's someone who's in the same room with you who has LinkedIn. And I'm always amazed. Like, again, when it comes to the whole thing of privacy, whether it be digital or like life or the financial side of it, most folks they just be doing stuff that does not practice or execute they're not the best security privacy practices. That is most people. And so with this, shout outs again to Janice for working what she's working on. But this is folks are gonna get caught up in this. Folks are gonna get caught up in this, and 8 to 9 times out of 10, he's probably only telling half the truth about what this read-only authority is. Not to mention, even if they didn't show the address and the amount, there's still other ways to identify transactions. So, yeah, that's like whatever, pointless. It's like wait, what was that one? Nope. It's like a half truth on that one. And then Charlene had posted this one today that got me. So she says, "Whoa, finding a trustworthy Bitcoin custodian is a critical part of a firm's Bitcoin treasury strategy. This devastating news about Fortress Trust shutdown should be flashing red lights warning for new Bitcoin treasury entrants. Be sure to choose your custodian." Ooh, Jesus. I don't know what gets me when I'm down here. Custodian and all your parties wisely. So the short of it, and I think this was either this was somebody's article, I don't know, but Nevada shuts down Fortress Trust over insolvency. And the short of it is they were owing some like couple million, like double-digit million amount of money for how they were operating, but they only had like single-digit millions on hand. And so some I'm gonna assume that somebody told the state to investigate the situation, because it was just like, yo, I don't like something smell fishy. Something somewhere smell fishy. But this is a part of the growing pains. This is a part of what happens when you get traditional financial institution mindset folks into this crypto thing, and they want to do the the financialization of leveraging, of rehypothecation, and doing the derivatives, and then like moving things around in a financialization, what is the word I'm looking for, not sense, but like manner. So there's no one-to-one. The oversight was probably kind of, wonky for how they were moving around with the funds. But this is like, yo, how did y'all get near, not, it wasn't near double, because I think I seen like it was like 12 million they were owing, but they only had like 6 or 8 million. It's like, well, how do y'all get to that point? Like, what were y'all doing? And yeah, for the folks who are looking to run around in, this side of the space, the more the traditional side, like, you definitely, again, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a CPA, tax guy, none of that. Just somebody who's been around for a minute, and like, we've seen these. At this point, I can't even call them movies. They're like TV series. They're like short run TV series, or it might be a 1 episode pilot. The joint get it. The joint gets, done for like 1 year, and then boom, it's gone. 2 years, and then, oh man, it's done. Like, some folks will make it for like a 3-year run, and as long as they have no run-ins with the SEC, the DoJ, or like FinCEN, they can make it past year. Nah, not even. That's a lie. If they up to screwy business, they don't make it past year 3, because eventually the math don't math. Like, we've seen these crypto TV series before. I can't even call them movies no more. Eventually the math don't math, because people doing things that they don't need to do. But that financing mindset is always on the like, well, how do I make this bigger? How do I spend? How do I leverage it? How do I do a derivative on top of it? And so you have these kind of situations. These, yeah, we've seen these TV series. They're not movies anymore. They're just short-lived, short-run TV series. Pilot specials, 3-episode makes. That's it. All right. What's the? Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. So yeah, shout out to her on that one. That is a good point. No, we talked about that last time. Which is this? Yeah, this is the fortress situation. Oh, so yeah, I was reading through this dude's thing, and oh no, was this that one? Yeah. So yeah, they owed 12 million, but only had one. I was wrong. It wasn't even 6 million. It was one, apparently. So yeah, you gotta be, crazy out here. I don't get what is going on and why what you call it is doing this. Oh, so the reason why I bookmarked this post too, I heard something the other day in the interview, and this post reminded me of it. And the person was saying how right now the West via the US and the East via China, hold on, are going to are bumping heads in terms of working to decide the direction of money. In that, if you notice how in the Western media side of it, you'll hear about stable coins, and Bitcoin's a big thing. But like, if you look at Eastern news sources or like social media postings, it isn't a Bitcoin thing. It isn't a stable coin thing, right? It is about having some kind of digital financial instrument, which right now is the yuan. No, what is it? It's the yuan, and then there's the other one. I can't remember what the name of the other one is right now, but like China has like a dual system thing for how their stuff works, right? And so there is this tug of war, as well as like who's going to get the thing that works. I don't want to say smoothly, but in a more, how am I saying this? In my mind, I'm gonna add my caveat on what this person is saying, has said, is that the US is looking more at it from a winner take all, right? And so with that, it's just like why you hear the rhetoric now of um America has to be the dominant figure within the crypto space, within Bitcoin. America has to, maintain its geopolitical position. It has to be the trendsetter of finance for the world. Blah blah blah. And so you get this whole thing about how over here, you're only hearing about stable coins and Bitcoin right now, and that's like the mainstream talk. And the idea of like, well, we want the rest of the world to move in this direction with us. Mind you, in terms of sound money, quote, hard money, the East is going in a different direction, going, hey, like, nah, dog, like, we need to, well, we don't really want y'all to use our currency as the world. I forgot the word right now, but like where everyone has to use the yuan. But it's like if you want to use it, cool. As far as if we give you a loan or something, like before they was giving out loans in USDs like it was hotcakes, yo. And so, and there's a whole thing about how China was giving out loans to all of these different countries and they were doing it in USD, but it was all like surplus money. Like it wasn't money that they quote like needed. They was like, all right, well, we'll give you like 3 million. You need 5? Like we could give you 6. Like we're not worried about it. Like we already made what we needed to do. Like literally, what is it? China spent like, I think it was like 13 or 14 months buying some ridiculous amount of gold straight, and like tonnage. Like it's not nowhere near um um residential, like average Joe mom and pop level buy, right? Did that for 13 months, but they was doing it like with the money that they was making off of the US, because it's a whole thing. But nonetheless, that's what we're going through. And I think that this statement by Brian Armstrong of Coinbase, crypto and stable coins are the tool that will update the global financial system. That's not a debate anymore. It sounds like a very quotable, catchy, Twitter viral line. But like, if you actually know what's going on outside of the US, what's going on in Africa, within Latin America, within Eastern Europe, within Russia, within the Asian countries, there's a whole nother movement going on for the whole precious metals thing, gold in particular. Like, they're doing this thing where the path for like the one belt one road, they're setting up these banks that will have the physical deposit of gold. So like again, if the you don't want to use the USD, you don't want to use your local currency, because like the conversion rate might be kind of crappy. Like, does China really need rubles from India? No, it's not rubles. I think rubles India or Russia. I don't remember right now, but nonetheless, it's like, yo, you got gold? All right, bet. We could just do the bilateral trade businesses at that level. Oh, we'll call over to that bank, and it's specific bank vaults that they're setting up that will hold the gold, and it's supposed to work where it's not like what the US or like what England does, where it's like, oh, we got your shit and we're not giving it back. Venezuela been asking for their gold for like the last 5 years. England's like, nah, we're gonna hold on to this for you. It's been like 5 years or something. Venezuela been asking for their gold back. But to that point, like, if you just look at what is being said over here in the West, you think that the whole world is looking to move on stable coins and is looking to move on just cryptos in general. So Solana is like in Australia or in like Papua New Guinea, or like folks in Lesotho are like, yo, how do I, go on the exchange to get some soul so I could do blah blah blah. It's like, nah, man. Like, the way we telling the narrative is not what's going on outside. Just a thought, just throwing that out there. Again, for the things I pay attention to, this is how it looks to me. But this post scratched my brain because it's like, I get what you're doing. You're promoting the American West narrative to it, but that's not what's going on for everyone. It's not the hegemony ain't working no more. End of the day, bottom line part of it. All right, so other joint to jump into. As I mentioned before, Zelle is now going to play the game, the stablecoin game. So Tether and USDC. I don't like, how am I saying this? So I want to say Tether is no, Zelle is global now, and so, like, I don't know how. Okay, I get why they have looked to incorporate stable coins, because it was probably a easier. Well, I don't know. Wait, I think for the various money apps, there's only a handful of folks right now that you can do Tether and USDC with, as far as like a Venmo, a PayPal, Stripe, what's the other one? Like Western Union. Well, Western Union over here trying to figure out how to stay relevant. And they losing because they just basically be overcharging people for what the transfer is. But I don't think Venmo can do crypto stuff yet. PayPal can do crypto because they already have the Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I'm assuming Zelle is making, I don't know if to say the first mover advantage of it, because like I feel like we had, well, here's where my question is: does this put them in the hair or in the target of the SEC, the DoJ, but more in particular the IRS? Because when Biden had proposed that whole thing about, like, if you do any type of money transfer, then if it's anything like up to, what was it, like $600, I think, like, it has to be reported. Zelle was one of the holdouts in terms of like, hey, well, we don't do blah blah blah, so like we're not gonna be the ones to report it. Like, we don't operate like a Cash App, and we don't operate like a PayPal. We don't operate like a, and they were giving all these examples of like, well, we don't do this like these particular finance apps do. But I wonder if, with how the Genius Act is put together for stablecoins, and how it works for the whole thing of the tracking and tracing and the anti-money laundering and the, ALM stuff, does this put them on the radar for those departments and agencies that I named? And I know a number of people who use Zelle. Well, I don't know. No, let me rephrase that. I don't know, but I've heard how people use Zelle as part of their susu. If you know what the susu is or the partner, then you know how that go then, yeah. But like, I'm curious to see how this is gonna play out down the road, man. I don't know. I don't. It's scratching my brain in that I question if this was really a positive move for them, or was it that there was too much pressure? Because I don't even know if Zelle is a public company or like who's like is Zelle a private company? How that works, or like who's their backer and investor? But was there so much pressure for them to be like, hey, y'all need to figure out how you're going to get into the stablecoin game, because like it's about to be a cash grab. So I'm curious if there was pressure on the back end for them to get into the stablecoin game. And here we have it now. But I guess we're going to see how this play out over the next like 15, 18 months. Like, are they still going to be doing this by the end of the administration? How about that? Just a thought. Next joint. All right, I told y'all my thoughts on that. This joint right here. So King be talking about that all the time as far as like Jamie Dimon and how he was on the Bitcoin is a fraud, it's a Ponzi scheme, and then now it comes out, hey, we're gonna allow institutional clients to use Bitcoin as collateral. The leveraging is going to be crazy. So imagine, like, they're literally taking what we were doing on DeFi platforms, Aave, Hyperliquid, and a number of other actual DeFi platforms, and they're bringing it over to the institutional side, and then the institutional side is gonna run through it like friggin' what's a good metaphor? Yo, the other day I was looking on YouTube, and this southern dude, I think he was either Mississippi. Yo, southern folks have a way with similes and metaphors, like for how they use onomatopoeia. Is it onomatopoeia? But nonetheless, the metaphors game is crazy. And so my point to this setup is that they're going to offer it to the institutional folks first. The institutional folks are going to run through it like nobody's business. And then by the time it comes to the residential level, the mom and pop level, the restrictions are going to be tighter. The collateralization ratio is going to be lower. You're not going to be able to do the same numbers that like an institution was doing. And it's going to be through these custodial platforms, which at any point could be like, all right, well, we're not just going to give you back your stuff. Or like, oh no, if somebody finds a loophole to like run game, they're not going to get their stuff back. Like, that's the part that gets me. But that's where we are. Like, that's what they're getting to get into. That's what they're getting to do. And it's a funky thing to watch. Like, again, we've seen this TV series before. We know how this 3-part special ends. It's not even a movie anymore. We don't really care what the characters look like. We already know the plot. That's the game. It's gonna that again. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is just, we've seen the series before. You give it to your friends. It's the whole Cantillon effect. You give it to your friends who are close to you, who are at the top of the food chain, And then they do what they do with it, and it's like, all right, now we could give it out to the rest of the folks after we done ran through it. After, you can't make the same, like, look at it this way. It's the same setup in terms of, like, who remembers yield farming and like running the yield farming with like the NFTs, or like doing the stacks with your NFTs, and then you was making returns that were like double digits, triple digit returns, like the 17, depending on what you was doing, like the 16 into the 18 period before the crypto winter. And then what was going on during the NFTs during the C19 wave, and how you could do the yield farming and stuff then. So like the DGens was running through that space, making the crazy return numbers. But now it's going to the regular average non-technical, non-degen folks in the crypto space. The numbers now, you talk about, oh wow, like I can get like 5% of a return, 8%. What? I can do like a 10, bro. Celsius. Who remembers what Celsius was like in the beginning when you was putting in whatever, crypto stablecoin thing you was putting in, and the returns you was getting back, and if you had access to the tokens, what? The numbers were crazy. Now your numbers are looking closer to traditional bank numbers. Granted, it's not like 1-2% or like a 0.7%, but like it's nothing like what it was back in the day. And that's the same play that's going to be played for this. Give it to the institutional folks, and then you give it to the regular folks after most of the juice has been squeezed. Sucks. But again, going to that other point, right? When this does come down through TradeFi, is that when y'all folks who are in the crypto space, tap out, as far, not tap out, but like you liquidate your positions in whatever stablecoin, NFT, coin, whatever token thing you have? Like, is that when we do it? I don't know. And I'm gonna repeat the question again because I see like some people might have just tapped in. If you were a federale, also to my gang folks, y'all, if you've been around for a minute, you know what the gang's about. It's not a street gang, by the way. Sovereign nation state military fighting force for the USA, if you don't know. Shout outs to the folks in all the different branches, by the way. That's including the what you call them, the Coast Guard and Space Force. But yeah, so if you were in gang or you on the big boy federal side, considering how the shutdown is playing out, is this when you start tapping your crypto bags? Do you start exiting out of your Bitcoin a little bit? You need to pay these bills because apparently we're at day 28. I honestly thought we were like under 20 right now, but apparently we're at day 28. And the longest one we had so far on the government shutdown was 35 days. And I do believe that was during Trump's first run. So is this a good time to tap your bags so you can pay these bills, so you could put clothes on your back or food in your belly and keep the roof over your head? Just throwing that question out there for the folks who are on the federale side, because I definitely know a number of folks who had got let go, and some folks are on furlough, and it's been a couple of months. Like this, they had those situations happen to them before the shutdown. So I'm curious, for the folks who are out there and you're in crypto, is this a good time to tap into that bag so you could make it through however much longer this is going to last? So far, the longest time that we had is 35 days. So if we beat 35 days, man, I don't understand why what you call it is acting like this. It's rearranging it's not following the succinct order of the day, like the timeline. Like, I feel like I looked at this a while ago. All right, so last story, and then we out. This is the one I was saying where the DoJ secured the BTC bag for the USA. So apparently, as you see here, the DOJ and the Treasury seized 127,000 plus BTC worth 14 billion from a Cambodia Prince Group. So it was a company that's located in Cambodia that was basically using a pig slaughter facility as the front for a digital scam operation, and like large scale scam operation. So like I seen one of the pictures, and I don't know if this is actually the location, but they literally had like rows of these racks that had like at least 50 or 100 phones on one side, and they were running all types of scams in terms of basically getting people out of their money. And they were using stable coins, and they were using other crypto, and they were using BTC. And so apparently this was going on, or they were under investigation since 2022. So this is during Biden's administration that this was actually started. And I only know that part because I was reading through some of the other stuff. The other what was it that had got me? That's yeah. All right, so here's the part that scratched my brain. The guy that they're saying is the person who's doing this, they threw the whole North Korea cyber, hacker group thing connection just to make sure people are like double scared because it was North Korean cyber people. And then apparently the person is still at large, right? So like they haven't arrested the person that they're saying is the main guy for this illegal operation. The couple of questions that I have is, does Cambodia get any percentage of this crypto, or do they get paid out in USD? Because if you know anything about the bot, which is Cambodians' local their fiat, it is it is a horrible ratio of exchange in terms of going from bot to USD. So are they getting any type of compensation for going along with this international operation, right? So that's one. Two, apparently what makes the headline about this is the idea is they seized the crypto, which I also was at a loss for, like, wait a minute. So like y'all had the y'all had the crypto at the same, y'all had the wallets at the same place, or like, because I didn't read the indictment, so I didn't go through that whole thing to like follow the details of like how did they infiltrate the network, how long, but I think it's like 2-3 years or something like that, because something I saw was talking about like going back to 2022. Yeah, no, a matter of fact, that's what it was. So apparently in 2022 they were making like 30 million a month in crypto value. It didn't actually say the specific thing for what I was reading, but all right, fair amount of money. It's just one of those, like, the security got infiltrated. Somebody talked like they shouldn't have talked, told where the wallets was, and then like boom. So then the other part is like, so like what wallets were y'all using? Like, y'all, who had the pins? Or did y'all get high enough up on the food chain that you got to the person who had access to the wallets that were local, right? Like, there's so many questions within it, but I don't have enough attention span to actually go and read the actual indictment. But the other key point to this is, so the U.S. through the DOJ and the Treasury Department are going to basically practice opposite of what the Marshals Department would do, which is if they would seize any crypto in any of their operations, they would liquidate the position and sell it to one of the exchanges, or do it where they would do like a private sale to like high value people. So like Tim Draper, that's how he got his major stake in crypto. He bought a fair amount of it from the US government when they were seizing stuff back in the day. That's how he got his position. But what they're what they're talking about with this situation is, it's like, nah, we're not gonna liquidate, we're not gonna sell it off through the marshals or anything like that. We're gonna hold it and then put it into the strategic reserve. And based on something else I've seen, apparently this makes the US the largest holder of Bitcoin compared to any other nation state, or at least what is known, which I'm kind of curious on how that is getting evaluated. Because then it's like, one, you would have to know every wallet. Like you would have to know who actually controls every wallet. And then that also, in my mind, assumes that you're able to track every miner to figure out like where did everything go. And like, granted, yeah, you know, we have the different GUIs that can show you like, oh, this is going to Africa and this is going to China and da da da. But like, there are still miners that don't operate in the bigger network, right? There's still folks who do things to obfuscate, right? And so, what do you do when it's not on a wallet that is like one of the centralized exchanges? So, in my mind, this is a number of questions for having that self-proclaimed, like, the USA has the most Bitcoin of every other nation state. How are we verifying that? How is that statement being validated? And that's the shit that I'm talking about. The whole thing of pushing the narrative of America dominates the crypto space. America is dominating the Bitcoin space. Other thing to note for how this case in particular works is this person has not gotten arrested. It's literally, they did the operation, they end up doing the seizure, running down on the installation, and then the person who they're saying is the head honcho isn't even in the country. So now you have it that, as far as the courts here in the US is concerned, and how it's being reported in the West is, oh, such and such is a convicted felon because they're charged with this money laundering, and they're charged with doing digital scams and human trafficking. This person's never spent one day in court arguing their position. This is literally the US in combination with the Thai government saying this person is a bad person. They are charged with blah, blah, blah. And so we're just going to take all of this money that we're saying is illegal, and we're saying what you've done is illegal. And I don't have any counter to be like, oh, well, you know, that wasn't actual human trafficking. It probably 100% was, right? Yeah. I'm not on that part of it. But like, the idea of, we're just going to say that this is what it is. And as far as our court is concerned, you broke the law. You did wrong. But if you want to come to the States and argue your position while we have you sit in jail, you are more than welcome to come to the US and argue your position on why you are not a convicted felon for the things that I just listed. Like, it's a tricky position and weird, you know what I'm saying, thing to be in, because this is like, yo, if you actually showed up and went to court, anyone who's been in court with a federal department or with the US government knows, one, unlimited bank, and then they can do things to cut you off from your financial resources so you can't fight them in court. And it is not by any means a fair game. They'll argue it like it's a fair game, but it's not a fair game when you go up against the US government in court. Why? Because they have to make examples, and they can't have you looking like, oh, you did your job and you beat the government. Because then it's like, oh, well, if that person did it, maybe I can do it. And oh, well, that person's not following what y'all told me was the rule, but they argued it out well enough in a court of law. Whatever. But point being is this, I'm curious to see how this plays out. Like, do they actually put this in to the US, Bitcoin Treasury Reserve thing? And then the other question is, what's going to be the shenanigans down the road? Because you got to remember, the Treasury is about to make this whole connection thing with the stable coins. And the stable coins are going to be connected to the T bonds, right? Treasury bills. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just not a fan of what the growing pains can potentially look like as cryptocurrency and financial instruments based on blockchain technology as it matures and proliferates through, the world. Again, like, we're going through this thing of where the West and the East are having a tussle on what the future of money looks like. And stuff like this is a part of it. Most folks might not see it that way, but it's a part of it. And it's what's going on in terms of the bigger picture, the more long run picture, if that makes sense. Let me cut that out. And I'm gonna go here. And like I said, y'all, this be the stuff that, like, it's all on like what's scratching my brain. And these are the things that be scratching my brain, and getting my attention. And sometimes I call it, far enough ahead where it's like, oh, this looks like this is going to be an issue down the road. And then a month, 3 months, 6 months, it turns into a thing. And then sometimes it doesn't turn into anything. And I'm like way off, way wrong. Right. And then the other thing to note is like, I think the moments that be catching me is when I see something and then I bring it up, and like weeks or a month or something might pass, and then I see it on like one of the more financial, bigger economic folks that I pay attention to. When I see it come across their radar, I'm like, all right, bet it wasn't just me. Or like, okay, there was smoke. I saw the smoke, and yes, it turned out that there was a fire. So yeah, that is all I got for y'all tonight. Definitely went longer than I was expecting. And as I said, man, like, it's a lot going on out in this world right now. This administration is something else. For my federales, for my gang folks, whether you active, reserve, or guard, like, I'm feeling for y'all right now. Trust me, like, the situation is it's it's not excuse me, it's definitely not what I was expecting. I thought this was probably gonna go on for like a week or two, and then we was gonna be back on motion, but apparently not. That is not what is going on right now. Yeah, but it's a Monday. Hopefully y'all had a good weekend. I was supposed to do camping, and I didn't get to go camping this weekend. I don't know if anybody's into camping, but I've definitely been getting my camp stuff on over the last couple of years. Total random thing. Military got me into camping. Crazy enough. Like, I'm a northern city boy. Never got into camping none of the times when I was in my younger under 30. Got into the military. Eventually I got into camping, and like, I'm not a glamper. I do have some level of glampish stuff going on. Case in point, like bringing a power jack, what is it, Jackery, the power bank joint, so like the blow up mattress. But I can get pretty basic. Right now, or this weekend, I didn't get to go camping where I wanted to, But I did just say, bump it. Let me throw up the new tent in the backyard and test out what I was trying to do. Because eventually I want to go and do like winter camping, like snow on ground, hit some national forest area, put up the tent and, stay out there for a couple of days. Like that's the time I be on right now. Like I tell people all the time, especially like the folks who know me on the crypto side, it's just like I am definitely a hard contradiction of things. I'm a techie person on this crypto techie, stuff. Um, but at the same time, I be on some real basic. Oh, let's go camping. Let's start fires. Let's sleep in hammocks, sleep on the ground, and folks make fun of. Even my military folks make fun of me on the like. Well, there's a perfectly good building. Why would I go sleep outside? But that's just where I'm at, man. That's just where I'm at. I say all of that to say, like, for everything that's going on right now, like, you know, folks will definitely have to like put some effort into finding the things that like keep them steady, keep them focused, because we're only 9 months into this administration. And I was saying this to somebody the other day, like, I knew the administration was gonna be chaotic. I just didn't think that it was gonna move as fast, if that makes sense. I did not think that the the scale and the birth of the number of things that are going on is just like, yo, like you turn around, he's like, wait, the economy is this. Wait, hold on, we got a new trade thing on that. Oh, wait, the this company's closing down this many jobs. Wait, we inferred the government should every like, and on top of it, like you're dealing with the inflation part. Like people are using GoFundMe to buy groceries, y'all. That's where we at right now. Heaven knows what year three is gonna like. Year two, year three. Jeez, like, but at that point, like the damage is rooted, and it's gonna take what another 2-3 administrations for things to be quote ironed out or like kick the can down the road. And I've been saying it for how long now? Pensions have been claiming insolvency since like the Obama administration for a number of states. So, like it's gonna be wild out here, and folks need to find some things to help them get through some of these tough moments. And like even on other part too of like I've known a number of people who have also had it that their mothers or grandmothers' health have taken turns over the last month. I know a handful of people. I don't know what the dads and the grandpas are doing to stay strong, or nobody's saying nothing about them. But I got a handful of people I know right now, and one of my people's like her grandmother just passed. The other folks, they making recoveries, they back at home, they around family, but like things are happening. And that's just one of the things that are going on for people amongst the other things, right? Job security, food security, mental health and stability, emotional wellness, being with a partner who's like on the same, page as you. If you in a relationship, it's a lot. It's a lot of things that could be stressors out there. But anywho, I'm gonna close that out as the last thing. Sorry to be the downer, but I don't mean to be. What is my takeaway? That's the question right now. What is my takeaway? I don't know which thing I'm gonna go with. I think I might. I don't know. I don't know. I think I might go with the either the base story about what's his name said, or I might go with the CZ pardon. I don't know. It's a couple of them. It's a couple of things on here that's like, what is this? How do I thread? Like it's crypto related, but it's different stories, right? So like the Peter Schiff and CZ, I could definitely run out something on that one. The CZ getting pardoned, I could run out something on that one and combine that, in poking at Elizabeth Warren, as well as the joint that Ken Sturgeon said about the influencers being paid to talk about crypto, even though they don't actually own any crypto. Like Post Malone I think that was during the COVID period where he was pumping, I forget what project he was pumping, but he didn't even have any. And there was a number of licensing deals that was like that. Shaq was even involved in one. There was a number of people during like the COVID period that were involved in in um in pumping crypto projects. So I don't know. Like I'm not sure where I'm gonna go with this one today. For what my takeaway is. And then there's what Brian said. I don't know. I'm not certain. But I'll sleep on it, and I will share a post or a version of the post on Twitter. So there we go. That's all I got. And as I say, folks, from one human to the next, the best thing that I can wish for you is to be in a safe place, in a safe space, and in good company. And so, yeah, it's a Monday. Hopefully you were able to recharge your batteries over the weekend to, you know, deal with what's going on this week for y'all. And until the next one, that's all I got. So check y'all's later. I'm Trek with 2 Ks.